Friday Night Lights means it's time for the final score. Your home for hard hits, big plays, and the Basin's #1 football show. The final score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Well, final score, we are happy to be back actually on your television this week. Ben Peck alongside Aaron Reynolds. And this is the weekend, really, Aaron, the game that puts the Basin in the national spotlight every year.
Yeah, one of the most iconic rivalries in all of high school football. Midland Lee and Permian. The last couple of years, we've been treated to some surprises.
Yeah, dare I say upsets. You know, both teams obviously are clearly the favorites, depending on who you like more. But 2 years ago, of course, Permian undefeated in district, Midland Lee knocking off Mojo in that season finale. Then last year, Rebels undefeated for the whole season, Panthers returning the favor.
Oh. What happened?
This is the thing.
365 days a year, you get one shot.
Midland Lee week, so everybody's excited and ready to go for Friday.
Throw the records out when these two play, you know. I think it goes just to probably tradition.
It was a close game, like it's always going to be. It's you know, both teams are going to come out swinging for the fences. So it was exciting last year, and we're going to hopefully have the same result this year.
All right, shout out to our digital producer, Dylan Jimenez, for getting that ready for us. Permian and Midland Lee. Permian, once again, trying to spoil that early undefeated record this time. Mojo does lead the all-time series 40-21-1. My math tells me that's the 63rd meeting, and here we go, the 63rd iconic coin toss. A little different this year, but Harper Terry and Mikey Serrano exchanging pleasantries, the two quarterbacks. First play, Terry dropping back for his first pass of the game, and Taryn Lemuel. Touchdown, Permian, quickly, and the fans, they are all about it. Second quarter, now 7-0. A little controversial here, Aaron. McKylan Young gets the handoff, reaches out. The ref said he made it, and it's a touchdown. Jeff Ellison did not agree. I'll just tell you that. Tie game at 7 apiece. Next Panther possession, Lucas Salazar gets the pitch and making his way through the defense. Kind of took the contact there and blowing through the defenders, making 13-7. Rebels with the ball back later on. McKylan Young, much more convincing this time. He's back off injury from last week. And Lee, after they made their PAT, Permian missed theirs. They take a 1-point lead, 14-13. Harper Terry says, I'm tired of passing it around, handing it up. I'm going to take it myself. 2014 Mojo, and then Lee would actually get a turnover, but they force a turnover on downs here, as you see, just barely. And that would eventually allow them to kick a field goal, make it 20-17 at the half. Midland Lee, they led 38-26 in the third quarter, but as you see after that, oh my goodness. Permian rallying back. They had a 55-38 lead, so all those points unanswered. Rebels get on the scoreboard there at the very end, but 55-44, a wild game out at Ratliff. Jake Eichstead was there to take it in.
Ben, Aaron, welcome to Ratliff tonight. A almost perfect performance from the Mojo tonight. I got their head coach. Now, Coach Ellison, a very different game from last week. Talk about what you guys did differently to prepare for this game.
Well, I'm very proud of our team and our staff, because what we talked about last week was we let some emotions and some ups and downs of the game last week really decide how we played, and we did a good job of staying even keeled throughout and going out and executing on offense. You know, come out and gave up some big plays on defense, but we stayed with it. It was just a great team win.
Harper Terry hitting a lot of home runs tonight, both on the ground through the air. How proud are you of this young man?
Extremely proud. And again, I'm so happy for him and our football team. But a guy like Harper, you know, with last year getting thrown in the fire and then fighting back, and then just his leadership and just the type of kid he is right there. I mean, he's going to give everything you got.
And Coach, you know, this is clearly a huge game. I mean, not even just in the state of Texas. The whole country knows about this rivalry. What does it mean to you, and how do you get your guys prepared mentally for such a huge game?
Well, it means a great deal to everybody, all involved, both sides. Again, that's a great football team in Midland League. You know, and I respect their staff and their kids. They played hard tonight. It means a great deal to our kids as well. As far as just staying focused, I mean, that's the hard part at any levels, is staying even keel and staying focused throughout a game, especially a big emotional game like this.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on a big win tonight, guys. 55-44, Permian edging out Midland League. Ben, Aaron, back to you.
Thank you, Jake. Well, regardless of those who support Permian or Midland League, right now, everyone's still rooting hard for Samaje Davis, the former Midland League quarterback who was seriously injured in a car crash last week in Abilene. The Davis family did post an update on his status earlier this week. They say Samaje is in critical but stable condition. He suffered both a broken femur and a broken collarbone. He's also tested positive for COVID-19, although the family says the bleeding in his brain has stopped. They're asking people to focus on the positives. They say they have been overwhelmed by the support they've received, and certainly, Aaron, I've seen a lot out there. A lot of people rooting for number 9 now.
Yep, he and his family are in our thoughts and prayers, of course. Some more district action, though, across the basin. Midland High getting in on its district action, looking for their first win, as a matter of fact. And the Bulldogs were hosting the Friendship Tigers this afternoon out at Grande. First score of the game.
I'm sensing some defense.
Is a high snap on a punt for a safety.
Well, there you go.
Now Bulldog ball, though, Daniel Garcia right up the middle, and he is wide open into the end zone. 8-0 Bulldogs early on. Now Friendship with the ball, handoff to William Bays up the middle for a touchdown. 8-7 now, so a back and forth game to start things off. Bulldogs again with Daniel Garcia. He has just been huge.
He's the machine, man.
Once again up the middle, bounces it out, runs the safety, and strides into the end zone. 15-7 Midland High. Tigers turn. Corbin Gandy running right, finds Andrew Braddock in the back of the end zone. 15-14 now. Friendship would go on to make a field goal to make it 17-15 at half. So a really close game to start things off. But Friendship pulls away in the second half, 37-23. So Midland High starts off district play with a loss. Bulldogs fall to 0-4 so far this season.
So now listen, it's only one set of games, but why, we always love doing this. Let's look at those district standings. If the season ended today, the Odessa High Broncos, they're in the playoffs. 0-0, of course, the Broncos idle this week. But Permian, Wolfforth Friendship, and San Angelo Central each getting wins. Midland Lee, Midland High, and Abilene High coming up short. Abilene High, of course, falling to San Angelo Central earlier tonight.
And some more scores from some of our Basin teams. Midland Christian back in the win column with their first district win of the season, 55-21 over Argyle Liberty Christian. So Mustangs now 1-2 in district play.
Yeah, certainly happy to see that from Midland Christian, a team that laid it all out on the line there last week for our game of the week. Well, listen, believe it or not, even with this show, we still talk about football way more than we're allowed to on here. And if you want to see us do that, check out Final Score Overtime every week on our website, yourbasin.com. There we get further analysis of the past week of games, we break down some upcoming matchups, and we announce our game of the week before anywhere else. That's Final Score Overtime every week on yourbasin.com.
Check it out. And from the largest to the smallest classification of 11-man football, the Wink Wildcats putting their 7-0 record on the line tonight. Their rival, McCamey, standing in their way.
But also many more festivities as well. We'll hear from some halftime entertainment. Our Band of the Week is coming up as the best show in the Basin. It's coming right back.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Well, welcome back to The Final Score. Glad to have you with us once again as we move through some more highlights. Glad to see Big Spring back on the field as well.
Yeah, you know, they forced to cancel the previous 2 games, Big Spring against Littlefield and Pampa. Fortunately, those Steers back at it tonight, and also just in time for district play. In all seriousness, you don't want to be missing those games because those are forfeits that could impact your playoff positioning. But here we go. Big Spring district opener hosting Andrews. Andrews coming off that loss against State Rate Canyon last week. Let's check it out. Big Spring coming out, and here we go. Homecoming for the Steers as well. Early on, not a lot of offense, but some big hits. Keegan Mitchell with a stick on the outside. Later on in the first, Braxton Pearson laying the hammer on the Andrews back. My goodness. Well, back and forth we go. But finally, we would get some scoring. The Mustangs on the board first. E.J. Lopez calling his own number. Squeezes in for the touchdown. 7-0 Mustangs after the extra point. Then Big Spring with the ball. Gabriel Baeza advising Jose Cantu into the end zone. That ties it up at 7 apiece to start the second quarter. We'll check out the final from this one. And Andrews, they go on to win 56-35. A big start here for the Mustangs, as again bouncing back from that win, or excuse me, that setback last week against Canyon.
Some more action, some more district play, I should say. Fort Stockton still looking for that first win since week 1.
A Thursday night special out in San Angelo.
You love it. Panthers on the road taking on Lakeview. Opening district play for both of these teams. We're going to head out to San Angelo for this matchup and enter the action in the first quarter. Fort Stockton in the red zone. Pedro Vasquez maneuvers his way through the defense. Touchdown Panthers. Fort Stockton gets on the board first 8-0 after a 2-point conversion. Next Fort Stockton possession, Dominique Aguilar slings it to Jaylee Ibarra. We see a lot of action from those two, making guys miss and ends up in the end zone. That would make it 20-7 Panthers. Skip to the second quarter now. Chiefs respond. Albert Rodriguez gets the pass before the rush gets to him. Tristan Franklin.
Who wants it?
Comes down with it 4-6.
Took a while.
Chiefs trailing 26-14. But Fort Stockton took advantage of several Lakeview miscues, which would eventually lead to this score. Fort Stockton gets its first win since week 1. Panthers 65-28, so they start off district play with a victory.
Yeah, you said it. Big win for the Panthers after kind of a slow stretch there for a little while. All right, how about, Monahans 1-0 in district play. Lobo's got to feel good about that. Greenwood coming off a overtime heartbreaker against Sweetwater. So it was also senior night for Greenwood, so they were pumped up, ready to go to take on the Lobos. They were backed up, the Lobos were. This is third down. Bond don't want to take a sack. Caleb Yarborough, I don't want to take a safety. Caleb Yarborough going to get the sack, and then you see he's feeling pretty good about it right there. Monahans, they were able to get the punt off, so that's the good news. Not so good news, Isaiah Ramirez darn near able to return it for a touchdown out at the 7-yard line, which sets up the first touchdown to make it 7-0. First play from scrimmage on the ensuing drive, though. Now, what a response. Adnan Saucedo lost him for a little bit, but he's going to get in his Range Rover and run away from the Rangers. It was a low-scoring game throughout this one, and as we see, backed up by the final score, 13-7. The defense for Greenwood's been struggling a little bit lately, but here they do their job, and they needed it. They get the win.
Yeah, that low-scoring offense is pretty surprising from those Rangers.
Absolutely.
Same district, though. We're going to head out to Pecos. Eagles 0-1 in district play and hosting Sweetwater. So Eagles trying to get in the win column in district play. Again, just 0-1 to start things off. Sweetwater with the first possession. Leo Holsey airs it out to Harrison Foster. 7-0 up in just 3 plays. So not a great start for Pecos. Eagles answer right back. Abel Velasquez into the end zone.
Ooh, there he goes.
Eagles faced 2 fourth down situations on that drive, so they definitely got it done. The district rivals in a shootout at this point. Heading into the second quarter, 28-21. Sweetwater leading, finds Foster, capitalizes on a Pecos turnover to get that score, but the Eagles would respond in the run game. Armando Ortega finds his way into the end zone. High-scoring matchup, but Sweetwater would end up holding off the Eagles 62-39, our final out in Pecos. So the Eagles fall to 0-2 in district play, and Sweetwater improves to 2-0.
I was going to say Sweetwater kind of resurging from where they were last year. All right. How about 3A Division II? These are some new district rivals, and would you look at this? La Mesa. They snapped a long losing streak earlier this year, and now they snapped their district losing streak, 28-0. They improved to 1-2 in district. It is a 6-man district, so it'll be tough to make the playoffs for either of these teams. Kermit's still winless, but how about the Golden Tours posting the shutout?
Nice, all right. And Crane also entering some district play. 1-0, excuse me, I don't know what I was just saying. 1-0 in district play, and they're going to improve to 2-0 with a 59-0 final over the Anthony Wildcats.
And over at Sul Ross State, Jackson Field, the Fighting Bucks taking on the Tornillo Coyotes, and this, I believe, was the district opener for the Fighting Bucks, and you see making quick work of the Coyotes there, 67-7. Bucks get the win.
Stanton on the road facing Kahoma, and the Bulldogs improve to 2-0 in this low-scoring close game, 20-16 out in Kahoma. So Stanton falls to 0-2 in district play. Bulldogs once again 2-0.
Wow, nice bounce back for them. All right, Reagan County and Lubbock Roosevelt. Lubbock Roosevelt, they're undefeated this season. They stay that way, 7-0 on the year. Reagan County now 3-4, 0-2 in district. Still some hope for the Owls though, but a disappointing result tonight.
Yeah, and the Buffs also looking pretty solid this season, and they're going to drop a close one to Anson though in this district matchup, 27-23. So close out in Forest Haven.
Well, coming into this week, we had only 3 undefeated teams from the Basin still left. We had Midland Lee in 6A, had Klondike in 6-man, but the only team not only undefeated but with a 7-0 record, you got to go down to Class 2A for the Link Wildcats.
Yes, it is impressive that they've even been able to get all of their games played in a season like this.
I would say so.
It's the first 7-0 start for the Wildcats since 1997.
I could barely tie my shoes at that point. I was a late learner. You'll forgive me.
So once again, Wink 7-0 and visiting McCamey. Always a fun rivalry game. Always a big district game. McCamey's first district game of the year. Badgers with the lead in the second quarter. And there's Cannon Gibson's pass being picked off by Braden Fuentes. So McCamey's going to take over, and Ivan Rubio just hops, muscles his way into the end zone. But now it's his 3rd touchdown of the game just in the second quarter. So McCamey goes up 20-6. Yes, Badgers looking for the upset. Go for 2. Rubio's pass to Fuentes is good. Badgers take a 22-6 lead over the undefeated Wildcats in the second quarter. Wink would respond later on in the half with a touchdown of their own. They missed the 2-point conversion. But taking a look at this final score, Badgers hold off Wink 38-33 to hand the Wildcats their first loss of the year. So McCamey starts off district play 1-0, and Ben, we've said it before, but this could be a district championship game.
No, absolutely could be. And I don't think you've heard the last of the Wildcats, but Badgers, much improved team this year. All right, how about Seagraves and Ira Ann? Ira Ann, of course, looking for their first win, looking for their first district win. Seagraves coming in, also looking for their first district win. Zane Davis, the captaining the Braves tonight, at least for the coin toss. After a turnover on down, Seagraves gets the ball back on Zarian Smith. 15 yards for the touchdown. Just makes it look nice and easy. 8-0 Eagles. And then Braves, they were able to punt it down to the 1-yard line, but Aaron, this is going to go down as the longest play in Texas high school football history. You're not going to break this record. Ethan Salazar, 99 yards to the house, and Seagraves,
my goodness,
16-0 in the first quarter. How about one more time for Zarian Smith to make it 22-0 in the second quarter? And as you see here, the Seagraves Eagles go on to secure that not only win, but that shutout as well.
Now, before we get to some 6-man scores, we're going to take some time to take in some of the atmosphere from tonight's game.
Yeah, it's time for us to listen to some of the, scores, as they say, that fill the stands every Friday night. We're going to hear from our Band of the Week, the Pride of Pecos.
good and nice and socially distanced too.
Yes,
We like
nicely
to see
done.
it.
Nice execution all the way around.
All right, on to those six-man scores now. Borden County playing its first district game of the year, and they get a win, a very big one, 61-8 over Meadow. So Borden County improves to 5-2 this year.
All right, how about Garden City? They were, I think, originally slated to take on Marfa, if I'm not mistaken, but they were hosting JAYTON, a team that I believe is ranked. They're not 6-1 after this win, JAYTON, 61-58. Team that's ranked in the Division II ranks. Garden City falls to 3-4 before the start of district play.
Two more six-man teams here in the Basin, Midland TLCA on the road facing Grand Falls Royalty, and the Cowboys are going to get the win 72-55. So Grand Falls Royalty improves to 3-4 this year. Midland TLCA falls to 3-4.
Nicely done by the Cowboys. Well, we've seen all the highlights, all the great plays that Week 8 has to offer, but we're going to find out which one's taking home the top honor. Play of the Week, that's coming up next on The Final Score.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
All right, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping first. It's a chaotic situation on these Fridays, as you'll understand. But first of all, Coahoma, they're 1-1 in district play. Apparently, we said they're 2-0. So our mistake. Listen, we're just such big homers. And apparently, the final for Greenwood Monahans, 13-9 Greenwood over Monahans. So still the same result. I think we said 13-7. So I guess Monahans must have got a safety. But listen, we took some time earlier, saw all these highlights, and now we are ready to make a major announcement.
Yes, one that we actually don't know. We don't know what's going on.
We don't.
The Basin will never be the same. We've seen a ton of great highlights throughout the night. Now we're going to take a closer look at the best one. Here is our final score, play of the week. What's it going to be, Ben?
I don't know. I guess we're going to go out to Pecos. This is Ezekiel Saldana. Ooh, sheds a few tackles there, reversing field, and then, oh my goodness, look at him go. There's no stopping that eagle. Going the distance for the touchdown for Pecos. They would come up short in this game against Sweetwater, but really back and forth first half of that game. Really big shootout out there. And the Pecos Eagles going to take home not only our band of the week, but our play of the week as well. Nicely done. Well, listen, when you see our plays of the week, a lot of those athletes tend to, at least eventually, end up having something in common, I would say, Aaron.
Yeah, many of them go on to be selected as our athlete of the week.
Yes.
This Friday, our reigning title holder actually has a night off.
Yeah, it's, we're going to go out to Grady Senior running back, Caden Hayes. He really did carry the load last week for the Wildcats. 18 rushes for 217 yards and 6 touchdowns against Buena Vista. Believe it or not, Aaron, he actually did about 30 better the previous week. The week before, 245 yards against Robert Lee. So he's been cruising. More importantly, though, Grady, they've been cruising. They started off 0-3. Hayes helping them win their 4th game in a row.
It's been a blast. I mean, we're blowing a lot of minds out here. I mean, a lot of people did not expect this from us, even a winning record, and it's awesome, playing with this team, my brother's out there. It's been great.
All right, I think I said seriously, and my phone thought I was talking to her. Well, the Grady Wildcats, they're off this week. They're taking on Rankin, hosting Rankin, the number 4 team in 1A Division I for their district opener. Next Friday night, that's going to be 7:30, so we'll see how the Grady Wildcats do once it turns over to that portion of the week, but or schedule. But once again, congratulations to Mr. Caden Hayes.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. Our last break is coming up, though, but when we come back, we're going to bring you our final thoughts from this week.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Well, Ben, they say to throw the records out when rivals meet up, and that seemed to be the case again tonight.
Yeah, it's actually National Bosses Day, and Permian Midland Lee, they were trying to show each other who was in charge tonight.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Very competitive first half, ultimately coming out with the win, Mojo was. We're going to send it out to Jake Eichstead at Ratliff for his final thoughts on the game.
Ben, Aaron, welcome back to Ratliff Stadium tonight. You guys, I said it earlier with my interview with Coach Ellison, it was a near-perfect performance from the Permian Panthers. We know that they had such a tough loss last week to Tascosa. I think they lost 40-18. I mean, not even just a tough loss, they got blown out. The big difference, Coach Ellison talking about the turnovers, especially in the discipline that his team had. Now, Midland Lee was in this game up into halftime. They were only down 3. Permian really separated themselves in the second half, and what I saw was Harper Terry just running all over them. He had a couple big plays in the air as well, a couple deep touchdown passes, but where they really won this game was on the ground. Go figure, the Permian Panthers winning a battle with the run game. But it really just came from their quarterback, Harper Terry. Like I said, multiple touchdowns and big explosive plays. This team is going to be trouble for a lot of teams in 6A. Ben, Aaron, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Jake, showing us who's in charge out there. Well, Aaron, we saw a lot of other results as well. I think we were both certainly impressed by Permian, but what else stood out to you tonight?
Yeah, well, I got to go with another rivalry game, and our producer, Jake Meyer, likes to make fun of me because I always pick the games that I went and covered.
Hey.
But this was a good one.
No, this was a really...
So Wink came into McCamey 7-0, but the Badgers really held their own, and, you know, it got close there in the second half, but all throughout the first half, McCamey's defense really held the Wildcats away, and Ivan Rubio, what a performance by him. 3 touchdowns just in the first half. So, got to give it to McCamey, starting off district play with a win and handing Wink their first loss
I just
of
want to
the
say,
year.
too, if we could throw Jake Axett under the bus a little bit, which we are, have fun to do.
We're fond of doing it.
He was questioning if McCamey would have the people on defense to be able to slow down Wink. He got, Caden Johnson, but aside from that, what could they do? Well,
I got to apologize, too, because I think I did the same thing.
Well, you know what? McCamey, I think they proved a lot of people wrong tonight. Shout out to the Badgers. I'm going to give a shout out to Fort Stockton. Now, this is a Thursday night game. It might not, the final score might not necessarily jump off the page as something you're totally shocked by. A big win over San Angelo Lakeview, but just the resilience of this team. They started off with the win, dramatic win over Alpine to start the season. Then they go on a 5-game losing streak. They're in the playoffs as part of a 14 district, but you just wonder, especially I think they came off a bye week. How are they going to respond? How are they going to do in district play going into this? And they're here to play, and they're in there with Big Spring and Andrews, and we saw Big Spring give Andrews a little bit of trouble early in that game. Fort Stockton, I think, making a statement that they're not going to be a pushover the rest of the season. I think the Panthers, they're in it for the long haul.
It also has to be just such a relief for that team to get a win, kind of take the weight off their shoulders, and realize, hey, we can hang in there.
Absolutely. Well, believe it or not, where we really like to rib our friend Jake Axett, final score, overtime. If you haven't heard about it, it's our relatively new digital exclusive football show, 2nd season in its existence. We do a lot there. We preview some upcoming games every week. We do more of these extended recaps. We talk high school, college, NFL. And we reveal our game of the week before we do anywhere else. That's our website, yourbasin.com, every week, final score, overtime. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week. We are so glad to be back here in our regular scheduled time. Hope to see you next Friday. For Ben Peck, for Aaron Reynolds, I'm Ben Peck.